Hey guys, it's Shaylin. I'm here today with another writing video. So today I'm starting another writing vlog. Over the past few vlogs, I've kind of been chronicling the end of the novel that I've been writing, but not really the end, the middle through end. I wrote about 30,000 words during NaNoWriMo and then took a couple months off because I had a bunch of other little things I was wrapping up. And then I started working on the book again in March. This is gonna be the vlog where we write the end of the book, which is both exciting and scary. You know, I did a vlog for the end of my last novel, Honey Vinegar, which was just over a year ago. I was a mess. Because for me, when I'm drafting a novel, it really does feel like it signifies like a period of my life. Like I'm always going to associate that period of my life with what I was working on. Like I can kind of timeline my life based on what book I was writing at the time. And so it's always weird to know that like I'm wrapping up the end of the Holding a Ghost chapter, which is also weird because it's kind of perfectly coincided with the pandemic. You might know this if you've been following this journey the whole way through, but I first attempted to write Holding a Ghost last March, but it didn't turn out very well and I ended up having to restart it, which I did in November. But I first started that first attempt at writing the book literally a week before the pandemic started. There is a vlog from that, and in it, like, early day pandemic Shaylin is there, and I'm like, so there's a pandemic and everything is weird, and oh, I had no idea. Now I'm wrapping up the end of the book. I'm getting vaccinated in less than a week. June 1st, baby. It's been the pandemic novel. When I started the book, I was like, there's no way the pandemic will be longer than the novel. Like, obviously it's gonna take me longer to write the book than the pandemic will last. And you know, I think it's gonna be the other way around. So I finished writing part 5 early in May. I think it was like May 8th. So what was that, like 3 weeks ago? When I was writing that, I was on a roll. When I think about all the things I've written, there are days that stand out to me. It's like, oh, that was a really good day of writing. Like, great time. But then there are also just like periods of time where everything was working and I was just super excited and invested about what I was writing. And part 5, so basically April of 2021, was a great time for my writing. I was really in it. I was having a great time. It was pretty natural that that kind of writing high did kind of come to an end with the end of part 5. The book took a pretty sharp turn. Part 5 was probably the easiest to write of all of the parts because it's just pretty clear what I needed to do and how I needed to structure things. And so I didn't really have to put a lot of effort into figuring out like how to order the event. Whereas part 6 is structurally a bit more of a strain. It's probably the most difficult part to structure. There are just like a few main things that need to happen, but I'm not entirely sure I'm setting it all up right or the link between those events is all in place. It is the last part of the book, which also means it's the easiest to edit. If you need to come back and drastically change it, it's not a big deal because there's nothing that comes after, right? You're not setting up for anything in the future. It's just the end, so it's really pretty easy to edit and rework heavily if need be, so I'm trying not to worry about it too much. So I think it was difficult to get back into it because I didn't know exactly how I wanted to structure or write the beginning of part 6. Like, the beginning of part 6 is probably one of the shakiest sections of the book for me, and so wrote over a few sessions, not that much. But I think as of yesterday, I've caught a bit of momentum. I wrote like 1,000 words yesterday, which felt pretty good. Like, I feel like if I write 1,000 words, I feel like that requires a decent amount of momentum to do. Like, I can't just sit down and write 1,000 words every day. But if it's a decently good day, then I can write 1,000 words. So I feel like I've got a bit of momentum. Like I was saying, there are a few main plot points that need to happen throughout part 6, and I'm getting to the first of those main plot points. And so I think this is going to be a little bit easier to write, and hopefully I'll build up some momentum. And you know, I'm a discovery writer, so I need to be writing something to see how to structure it. You know, like when I started writing Holding a Ghost, I had written about a 2-page plot summary. A lot of what I had planned in that plot summary ended up changing, but I did know the general structure and the main plot beats of the story. As I started writing, each individual section of the book kind of clarified. This is why I'm a discovery writer, because I'm the kind of person who needs to be actively working on something to figure out how the pieces fit together. I can't really figure out how the pieces fit together when I'm not actively working on it. It just doesn't work. And so I'm trying not to worry about things that I don't know and just take it one piece at a time, because that has been successful for me throughout the rest of the project. Assume this part will be between 10 and 15,000 words. I'm about 2,000 words in so far. I do want to try and write this pretty smoothly, not have it be too choppy, because then it's just hard to get immersed and it's just not that enjoyable. And it is the last part of the book, and so I want it to be fun to write. But I also know that sometimes I get so caught up in making sure that I enjoy the process that I end up not writing. Like, I end up putting it off because it's like, oh, I don't feel great today, for like the most minute reasons. It'll be like, oh, I'm a little tired today, so I won't write. And then I just end up putting it off. So trying to not do that while still writing in a way that I know is kind of like my favorite way to write, because it is the end of the book and I don't want, there's no rush for it to be done. So it's more important for me that I enjoy writing it than that I rush to get it done, because, you know, there literally is no rush. I have another book in the editing phase, and so that's what I'm gonna be focusing on, editing and publishing first anyway. I'll jump back in later and we can see when the crisis will hit. Place your bets now. When do you think I'm gonna be having a breakdown? Because probably one will happen. Hello, so it is June 1st. It's about noon. I just got back from getting vaccinated. Pfizer, I do know her. I am one of those people who gets very anxious about shots, needles. I don't like it. I was so anxious this morning. Like, to be clear, not in like a I'm scared of what's in the vaccine thing, because I'm not. I would drink that shit. It's just needles. I don't like them. People are always like, you have so many piercings. It depends on the context. I cannot explain it to you, but it was good exposure therapy for me, I think. I've got a bit of work to do. Obviously it is a work day. I do have something that I need to film, and I do not feel like filming it because it is so hot out today. It's probably the hottest day of the year so far. It's like 23 degrees. For me, that's too hot. Like, I can't. Anyways, I really don't want to film it because it's so hot out, and to film I'm gonna have to close all the windows. Anyways, first I'm gonna have something to eat, but I thought I would film a quick writing update. So it's not going amazing with my book. It's a pain because, you know, I was coming off of like the greatest writing high, like everything was working. I was really thriving, and I guess I was thinking that that would carry over, but it's not. And I'm about 3,000 words, maybe just over 3,000 words into part 6. And I still feel like I haven't really got much momentum. Yesterday, I hit 60,000 words in the manuscript, and I wrote a scene that was a pretty pivotal scene, and I'm hoping that things will start to click into place. I feel like I'm doing the thing where I try to just write a little bit almost every day, because I don't really have it in me to write more than a little when it's not working like this, hoping that I'm gonna build momentum, and it's just not really working. Normally I feel like it doesn't take this long. I feel like of these about probably 3,500 words, I don't even know if I'm gonna keep any of it. Like, I feel like the events need to happen, but I don't even know if I'm gonna keep any of the actual writing. Like, I don't know, I'm just not too pleased with the book. Well, I'm pleased with the book, but I'm not pleased with this section of the book, and it's the first time I've been really displeased with part of the book. It's the hardest part of the book. I think objectively the hardest part of the book to write, but I'll try and figure it out. I don't know what else to say. Hey guys, so I'm just sitting outside to do a little update in the park, because there's no one in the park right now, so I figured I'd make use of it. Sometimes I walk past here and there are people, and I'm like, I'm not gonna sit and film an update, but today I was on my walk and there was no one in the park, so I thought I'd make use of it. To be honest, I'm still struggling. It's been not the best. I don't know how many words I am into part 6, probably over 3,000 at this point. I think the draft is around 61,000 words. I'm honestly not really happy with anything that I've written in this part so far, and it just feels like there's no wisdom to the scenes, like the writings have no insight, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. And that's a hard thing to just fix and tap into. I've been trying to do what normally works for me in these situations, which is just try to write a little bit almost every day, and it'll be hard, and in a few days you'll break through the block. And I haven't broken through the block yet, you know? It's been 3,000 words of writing little tiny 200 to 300 word segments, and I haven't really broken through the block. I am closing in on the end of this plot point, so maybe that will provide some momentum going forward into like a bit of a shift in the plot, but I feel like I just don't feel confident. I don't feel confident with how the pieces of part 6 fit together structurally, and so I also don't feel confident with how I'm writing them. There was this effortlessness to the book. Honestly, the whole book up until this point has had an effortlessness. That effortlessness has finally kind of come to an end in the 11th hour. You know, there's not much of the book left and it's finally getting difficult. When it's never really been difficult up until this point, it's actually been super easy. Like, I don't know how I wrote the first 58,000 words of this without really any struggle at all. I felt super easy. Now, suddenly it's getting hard. I knew this part would be hard. I knew it would be the hardest part to write. I'm juggling a lot of things at this stage, but it's also a very subtle plot line. It's very internal, very soft. The plot has a pretty light touch on the story, I would say, and so it needs a very light touch to write, and that gets hard when you're at the end of the book, so naturally plot points are coming to an end, emotions are at an all-time high, there's a risk of melodrama, and so it's hard to maintain that light touch that a plot like this requires. I don't think there's one single thing that's contributing to why this is so hard. I think it's a number of things, but it's hard to write. I feel like the book has been just universally delightful to write up until the very end, and you know, that's almost when I would want it to be the most fun, because it's the very end. Big part of it is that I just don't feel super confident in how the plot is structured, and so it's hard to feel confident in the writing itself, you know? I know that I might have to do pretty heavy revisions on this, a big structural revision, which is not a big deal, you know? It's only like gonna be around 10 to 15k, so it's not gonna be a ton to revise. So I'm not scared of the prospect of having to revise it. I really don't mind if I have to do a big structural revision on it, especially when the plot is this light and the pieces are this movable because they're so little, because my book is in vignettes, so it's pretty easy to shuffle the pieces around. It's not that I'm scared about having to do an edit, it's just that it's making it hard to make progress right now without that confidence. Like, I don't really know how the story is meant to unfold. Like, I do, but I don't. I'm just struggling to fit it all together in my mind, and I feel like I probably just have to write it to figure it out. Welcome to just a random spot in my living room. Oh my god. We had a copy of Monkey Beach? I just read Monkey Beach and I bought it. Great novel. I really should have checked the Camino bookshelf before I bought that book, I guess. So I have been not feeling my best the past few days. Feeling kind of off. I'm feeling not great. I think I'm really burned out right now. Partly I think that this is contributing to why I haven't been writing very much, and this is something that I know about myself, you know, and this is normal when you're feeling kind of shit. You don't really want to write because you don't have much energy, so naturally you don't feel like writing. You know, writing is usually, as a creative task, something that I feel like requires a decent amount of energy. I do find writing like relaxing, but it does take energy to do. It's hard to do when you're feeling pretty shit. Partly I think that maybe that's contributing to why I haven't been writing that much. I mean, obviously part of it is just I'm kind of struggling with the book. You know, yesterday I was like, I know I need to write because every single time I'm having a bad mental health spell, I stop writing, and that only makes it worse. I know that writing consistently will help with this stagnant, tired, whatever, not great emotional state that I'm in right now. But it's so hard to do when you're not feeling great, you know? Like, think about a couple months ago in April when I was really thriving and I was writing a ton. All I wanted to do was write every day, and I would write so much. It was great. It was really fulfilling. Now that I'm not doing that, I'm not really like looking forward to writing every day. I enjoy writing when I do it, and I'm glad that I did it. Like yesterday I wrote a tiny bit. I was only able to get 300 words out before I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I was still glad that I wrote. I felt better that I had written. Remember in the last writing vlog where everything was good? And I was like, wow, let's keep this up. Let's see if we can do it again. And it's evidently not happening. This whole vlog so far has been a bit of a struggle saga. We're still there. I'm still kind of struggling with the book. So I'm now over 5,000 words into part 6. And I had to accept it's not momentum, because if it was momentum, I would have it by now. I don't think it's anything to do with my mental or emotional state because that has had ups and downs. I think it's just the book. It's just the point I was at in the book. It's just the scenes that I was writing. Like, they were scenes that I didn't know how to write. And it was jarring because for the rest of the book, it's been easy and everything has fallen into place like clockwork with pretty much no thought. It's just all fallen into place with ease, and it's been really easy to write. And this was the first time where I didn't know how the pieces fit together. I didn't know how to order the events and how to make the events happen in the way that I needed them to. I think that's honestly it. Like, I've spent this whole time trying to figure out why this isn't working and try to get it working, and I think it's just the story was hard. Like, it's that simple. I'd been stuck at this hinge, I'm gonna call it like a hinge point in the story, and it's those points between plot points, and I think those are often the hardest parts to write, where you have to figure out how you're gonna connect one plot point to the next. You know, in my last novel, there were a lot more of these hinges because that book was a lot more plotty. This book is like, there's no plot, like really at all. So there haven't been as many of these hinge sections. There haven't been as many plot points. I don't know, it's just a shorter, simpler narrative. And they're always the hardest parts to write for me. And I know that there were hinge sections in Honey Vinegar that I really did not like on the first draft, and they didn't make sense and they were convoluted, and then I had to go just find a simpler way to order it in editing, and then everything was fine. And I just realized I have to do that here. Like, I have to just write this. It's going to be bad. The events aren't going to align as nicely as they should. I have to just write it. So yesterday I wrote the last bit of this hinge section that really, I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with it. Now I'm at a big plot point. It's a bit of a juicier scene, probably the most emotionally intense scene in the book. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, God, I hope at some point something will start working, that this will be the end of this really difficult section, because I think from here on out it's stuff that I know how to write a bit better and stuff that I've been envisioning for a while, and there are 4 things that need to happen left in the book, and the plot moves pretty fast, so 4 things is not that much. On Friday I'm going to go visit family, and so I booked the week off work, and so I'm hoping to do like a little writing retreat, and so I would love to have built up a bit of momentum so that over the weekend and early next week I can either write most of part 6 or maybe even finish the book. I might be trying to wrap up this book in a week and a half. It seems like a lot, but it only seems like a lot because the writing has been so slow. Like, it's taken weeks to write 5,000 words. There's probably only like 5,000, maybe 7,000 words left in the book. I think for the most part until the end, it's stuff that I feel a bit more viscerally. Like, you know, like there are scenes that you feel and there are scenes that you just know have to be there. And I feel like for the past 5,000 words, I've been writing scenes that I know have to be there, but that I don't really feel. From now until the end, it's scenes that I feel. I hope so much. I really hope the rest of the book can be an actual enjoyable experience to write. It can be emotionally fulfilling and not a struggle like the past 5,000 words have been. Because it has been a struggle. I haven't been able to write more than like 400 words. There was one day where I think I wrote 1,000 words, but it was tricky. But for the most part, I've only been able to write like 200 to 300 words in a day in a writing session, which is really not that much for me. It's not that it's a bad thing to only write 200 to 300 words in a day. I have lots of days where I do that, but normally it's not the norm. Like, normally it's not like a constant thing where for weeks I can't get more than 300 words written. It is also the first time in this draft that I've been perceiving significant issues as I've been writing it, and I think I've talked about this in past vlogs, how the whole time I've been writing I've been like, am I missing something? Because I feel like there's nothing drastic that's wrong with this draft. I know that there is, but like the whole time that I've been writing I've been like, if whatever is wrong with this book, I can't perceive it. It's been nice because obviously like it can be hard to write when you're caught up on issues in the draft. This is like the first time that I've been like, oh, here's an issue. Here's something that's not working. And so I've just gotten so used to things working so easily that I guess it's really easy to get thrown off when for the first time things aren't working, in a way it's kind of comforting because it's like I am capable of perceiving problems with my writing. Now I know when I go back to do my developmental edit, there will be things that I can focus on rather than just being confused, because for a while I've been like, when I go to edit this book, what am I even gonna change? Like, there's one change that I know I wanna make that's very easy. I have like a point of access for a second draft because I have a problem that I need to fix, and so it's going to require some critical thinking, but it's also frustrating because there are problems. I think it's also a good reminder that one of the biggest indications of problems in your book is if you're struggling to write it. Like, I think for me, if it's easy breezy to write, it's probably working. Because stories have natural momentum when the pieces that make a story work are in place. If there's conflict, goals, tension, the story is consistent and coherent, and the pieces are causally connected, they fall like dominoes, right? And it's quite easy to write because everything that makes a story move is there. But when something in that plot, in that beautiful potion that makes a story is misaligned, you have to muscle it forward, and it's difficult. This is one reason why I don't outline my work. I want to be able to have that indicator of when the story is not working, and I find when I outline, you can just muscle the story forward because you have an outline without noticing that something fundamental is not working. But I find as a discovery writer, if something fundamental is not working, you'll know, because the story will stop working. And right now the story has stopped working for a period of time, and so I know when I do my developmental edit, I need to go look at this area, the problem area, and there's something fundamental that's not working in this section clearly because it's not working. I think we're back in business. So it's the next day, it's June 15th. Yesterday evening, I wrote around 1,000 words with relative ease, wasn't painful at all. I feel like I've broken through the block. I think that was literally it. It was just the story. I was just at a part of the story that I did not know how to write. I looked at how much I have left in the book, and it's not that much. Like, it felt like a lot when I was making slow progress, but it's literally 5 scenes. I'm pretty sure I can finish this book next week. I hope this momentum will be kind of lasting and carry us to the end. I'll be kind of annoyed if it fizzles out again, but I'm feeling confident I should be able to finish this book next week. It is June 17th today. We've escaped the crisis struggle stage, officially. So yesterday I had a wonderful day of writing. I think I wrote like over 2,000 words, like 2,300 words. I was so tired yesterday all day. And so I didn't even think I'd get any writing done. Around like 8 in the evening, I was reading, and I was so tired that I was like, I can't even focus on reading. And so it was like 9 o'clock, and I was like, I guess I'll just try to write, you know, like, might as well. I feel like I'm falling asleep at 9 p.m. for some reason, so, you know, like when you're really tired, it's hard to do a passive task. And so I was like, I'll try writing. I find like I can actually write pretty well when I'm tired, but it went so well. The scene that I was writing is a scene that takes place at a party. I love writing party scenes, like I find them really, really fun. And I was thinking about how when I was like 15, I'd never been to like a house party before. My high school friend group didn't start partying until a little bit later. Like, I don't think we started really like partying until we were like in our last year of high school, and even then it was never anything that excessive. We were pretty chill. I was 15 and I was writing this novel called The Definition of Impossible. In that novel, one of the pivotal scenes takes place at a party, and I'd never been to a house party before, and I remember being like really nervous about the scene and like not knowing how to write it. And I was like, I don't know how to write this because I've never been to a party, don't know how to get it right. Like, I didn't know how to like write the scene, and I was just like such an awkward little nerd. Here I am 9 years later and thriving, writing all the party scenes that I like. Don't think I ever want to go to a house party again. I think my ideal party is like max 9 people. It's done by like 11:30. I was writing a very chaotic party. Definitely the most chaotic scene in the book. My main character, June, she's not that chaotic, but this is her most chaotic moment. It was a really fun scene to write. I wrote probably about 1,400 words, and I was quite happy with it. Wrote really easily, which is great because, you know, I'd been struggling for a while, struggling to get anything done. Writing a whole scene, just total ease, was great and was really exciting. And then I was just doing a bit more reading after that. And while I was reading, again, I couldn't focus on the book because I kept thinking about the next scene. And so then I was like, guess I'll just go write a bit more, and clocked in probably 2,300 words, which is a pretty solid day for me. I'm leaving to go visit family tomorrow, which I'm so excited about because I haven't seen my family in so long. I have Christmas gifts to give them. Probably not gonna write today, but tomorrow is going to be the beginning of my writing retreat. And I think I'll finish this book early next week. Hello everyone, and welcome to Shaylin's reading and writing retreat. Yes, I have the next week off work, which I'm very excited about. I think that when you work remotely, like I do, it's really easy to get in the habit of never taking time off work. And every single time you go on vacation, you just work while you're on vacation. I do plan to finish my novel, but I also plan to do a lot of reading. So I thought I would quickly show you guys my TBR. Because, I have plans to read. I brought a lot of books, and I better read most of them because they were heavy to carry. So the first book that I plan to read is The White Book by Han Kang. This is pretty short, so I think I'll probably just read this tonight. I've been meaning to read this for ages because I really like Han Kang. I just haven't gotten around to this one. Then I'm gonna read Yuko Tsushima's Territory of Light. This is a novella. It's only 100 pages. So I currently have 16 books that I own that I haven't read, so we're trying to get a good dent out of that this week. Then my plan is to read Astra by Cedar Bowers. Looks exactly like my kind of book. It's about a girl who was raised on a commune in BC, which is that's the vibe. Communes, yes. I brought just one poetry. I was like, I'll just sneak a little poetry in there. Undoing Hours by Selena Bone. I saw Selena Bone read at a reading a couple years ago, and I was thoroughly enchanted. We have The Prettiest Star by Carter Sickles. Also been meaning to read this book for a while. I just realized that the end pages are pink, which I'm obsessed with. This is The Big Boy. I lugged this all the way here on public transport, but I think it's gonna be worth it for Papicho by Leon Ross. This is also a pretty new release. It's fantastical, I think. It's set on an island. I think it's a magical island inspired by Jamaica. It just sounds great and it just seems enchanting. And then the final book, I don't know if I'll get to this, Mexican Gothic by Silvia Marina Garcia. This has also been on my TBR for ages, but I'm reading it for a book club. Yeah, it's a gothic horror novel set in 1950s Mexico, and it just sounds like everything that, it just sounds amazing. I have a little bit more unpacking to do. I'm also starving because I was dumb and I didn't have a meal before I came here. So I need to go scavenge for some food.
Hi.
What are you reading?
I'm reading Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb.
Review so far?
It's incredibly brilliant. It's the final book in Realm of the Elderlings that all of you should read if you really like character-driven fantasy. And it's so good.
For more reviews, subscribe.
Yeah, I have a channel.
What's your channel? Jake Bishop?
It's just Jake Bishop, yeah. I'm sure Shaylin will put a link in the description maybe if she's feeling nice.
We'll see.
Does sound like it will take more work for you to do that, so.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work just to, I don't know, support you, and I don't even like you that much.
That's true. I don't know why you would do that.
Top 3 favorite series? That's my question for the day.
This, Stormlight, and Wheel of Time.
Hello? It's dark in here, sorry. I just had a bath. I can't remember the last time I had a bath because the bathroom in my apartment doesn't have a bath, it's just a shower stall. But I just had a bath and I'm feeling very zen. Probably past 8 right now. I haven't written yet. It was my first day seeing my family in a long time, so me and my mom had like 73 conversation topics we had to get through. But it is beautiful out, and it's gonna be late until past 10 because it's almost the longest day of the year. Summer solstice is like 2 days away. So I think I'm gonna go sit at sunrise because it's lovely out there. That was such a beautiful concept until all the mosquitoes showed up, and it actually was terrible, and now I have so many mosquito bites. So it's almost 11. There's actually still a little bit of light, like over the ocean. So I have 3 chapters left, although one of them is just going to be like a list of things, and I think one of them is going to be quite short, and then the last chapter is really only like 2 scenes. So I might try to finish my book tomorrow just because it's the summer solstice, and so I feel like it would be kind of cool to finish my book on the summer solstice. The sun is super majestic right now, as you can tell. It's about 8:40 in the evening. I'm just going out for a quick little evening walk. I just wanted a moment to like think. Then I'm gonna go shower just because my sunscreen is kind of irritating my skin and it's starting to bother me. And then I think I'm going to finish writing my book. So it's like 10:30. So I just wrote a couple little chapters and I'm now about to go in and write the last chapter of the book. I feel weird, but I feel at peace with the fact that I'm here writing the last chapter. I think I'm excited more than anything. It's a little surreal. I think the chapter might be probably around 1,000 words. I don't know, not super long, but it's a pretty gentle final chapter. It's just weird to be here writing the end. Like, this is the 11th book I've ever written, and it still feels kind of surreal to be writing the end of one. See you guys on the other side. Hello. So it's the next day. It's June 21st. I thought I would film a final clip for this vlog. I did film one yesterday after I finished the book, but it was a total mess. I think it was just really late and I was kind of frazzled. So I'll insert that here, or at least part of it, but it was pretty much incoherent. So it's now 11:07. I finished writing the book at 11:04. I'm saying that like it's like a time of death. I'd meant to film myself writing the last page or so, and I completely forgot to set up the camera. Oh well, really not something you can go back and do. Really only happens once. So that's done. I don't really know how to feel. I don't really know what to say. In my vlog where I finished my last book, I talked for like 10 minutes at the end of that vlog because I just had so many thoughts, and I don't right now. Brain completely empty. I have nothing to say. So the draft is 70,394 words, so I'd been anticipating a 70,000 word draft. Pretty on the mark with that one. I just feel weird. The end of this book, the last chapter, is pretty wholesome. Like, it's a pretty tender ending, so I guess I thought I would have a lot of things I wanted to say, but I feel kind of weird talking about it right now. Like, I feel like this is just a personal moment that I just want to sit here. I don't really have anything insightful to say, to be honest. I remember when I finished my last book, I had so many thoughts, and the final clip in that vlog was super long, and I had so much to say. My brain is just empty with this one. Not in a bad way. It's a weird feeling to finish a book. It's always kind of surreal. It's always a little bittersweet. You know, it's exciting, especially with this book where I've been trying to get it right for so long. Basically 6 years I've been trying to get it right. I think as a concept and as a story and as a format, I finally found the right way to tell this character's story, which I've been trying to do for 6 years. It's exciting to finally feel like I have a workable draft that I can proceed with, but it's also bittersweet because, you know, what I really enjoyed about this book was the process of writing it. The exciting thing wasn't having an end product, it was getting to write it. Before I wrote the book, you know, what I was looking forward to wasn't being done, it was actually getting to write it. First draft is really when you get to immerse in the story and be so close to it that you're pretty much touching it, you know? I know for me, when I'm writing something, I kind of feel like I'm there, in it. And for this book, it was a really nice world to be in. And so I'm gonna miss that. But I am also really excited because I am so happy with how it turned out. And it turned out better than I could have expected. The book is done. At least I have a book that I'm really, really happy with. This is probably the happiest I've ever been with a first draft. There's very little that I'm angry at. You know, there are little things I want to change, and there are a few things that I think I need to attend to. You know, it has that first draft awkwardness. You know, it's a bit stumbly and awkward in places, but I do feel good about it. And however much it needs to change in revision, I'm happy with it as a first draft, and more than I ever expected. So that's really great. So that's really all. Thank you guys so much for joining along. You know, I've vlogged the entire process of this book. I like making these videos because I like having basically a diary of my thoughts where I can look back, and sometimes I wonder, you know, like after I've written something, it's been a while, I'm like, what was I thinking when I was writing that? And I sometimes go back and I can watch my vlogs and see what I said about the book as I was writing it and like what I was thinking and where I was struggling, and it's kind of fun. My plan with the book now, I think it just needs a couple months of rest to not look at it. You know, I think at the moment I need to just take some time away and just think about it, not really look at it, and see what ideas I come up with in terms of revision, because I know that will happen and I'll get ideas, because that happened with my last book, that the months between finishing the book and starting to work on it, I got a lot of ideas. So I'm gonna wait for myself to get some ideas. There's no rush to edit this, and in a few months we'll come back to it and clean it up a little and ship it off to some friends, and yeah, I'm excited about it. So thank you guys so much for watching and for joining along this journey with me. I always say if you have any questions you can send me an ask on Tumblr, but my Tumblr ask box is closed, you know, 27 days out of the month. Guess I should probably find a different outro, because that's not really a thing anymore. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.